Okay, move on. Come on here. Richard Moore here, and I'm with Kimberly Camp, and we're going to talk a little bit about, a whole lot about her son that passed away, Gage.
Szerkins.
Szerkins. How old was Gage?
20.
Gage was 20. They speak up a little bit. You're soft spoken. 20 years old, and he passed away when?
June 4th, 2017.
June 4th, 2017.
911 got called about 5:30.
5:30 in the morning. Now, this was in Hatley, right?
It's actually in Smithville.
In Smithville, Mississippi.
Where it happened.
Okay, this is where it happened in Smithville. That's where Zachary Massey died too. So, and so this is back in 2017. He's 20 years old. And take us back to where he was living with who at this time?
He was living in a camper on my daddy's property.
A camper?
My daddy lived in the trailer.
Okay. So, you got a call at what time?
My sister woke me up about 6:30, 7 o'clock.
And who notified her?
Really, I don't know.
Don't know. So, you got
She's a nurse at the hospital.
All right, at the Amory Hospital, or okay, so that's the closest hospital. And so, what time did you go to where he was?
Yeah.
Where Gage was? What time did you get there?
About 7:30.
About 7:30. So it took.
I'm not sure exactly what time it was.
Right.
It was really early, but
Did they tell you over the phone? What did?
no, they didn't tell me nothing over the
What did they
phone.
tell you?
My sister came and told me
Okay.
that Gage died, and I thought I just assumed car wreck. And she's like, no. And then when I got there, my brother Anthony and Gurley stopped me and said I couldn't go over there to where he was at.
So your brother stopped you, and when you got to the scene,
Yeah.
is this near the camper he was staying in?
All right. I was in my daddy's driveway.
Right.
It's all the same driveway though, because it kind of circles around.
Right.
And so the curved part where my daddy's trailer was at, that's where I was at. The camper was on the side of it.
And so who was it stopped you? Alan Gurley, the coroner.
And my brother.
And your brother. And so what? Tell me what happened after that.
They said that they expected foul play, and
They suspected foul play.
and that they was gonna go do an autopsy, and that I didn't need to go see him that way.
Okay. What was the foul play they suspected?
I don't know. They didn't tell me.
What?
Something about Casey kept changing her story about.
Now, who
what
is
happened.
Casey?
Casey was his girlfriend,
Casey who?
Sheffield.
Casey Sheffield. So she was there at that time?
She's the one that found him and cut him down.
She found and cut him down. So the story is he was hanging somewhere?
Yes, or just barely above ground. I mean,
Barely above ground, yeah.
if he was set straight up, he would have. The tension wouldn't have been there no more.
Oh, so so maybe 3 or 4 feet off the ground?
No,
Higher than that?
sit straight up. Sit on the ground and sit straight up.
And sit straight up, yeah.
And that's like inches.
I don't see
His
how.
feet could touch the ground.
I got you. You know, I find that
She said something about he was leaning forward,
he's leaning forward.
but he has supposedly had a knife in his waistband, and
Right.
there's a knife in front of him.
What you think the knives were for?
He just always had a knife outside in the tree, but I don't know why he would put a knife in his sports shorts
Yeah.
after he took a bath.
Unless he was afraid of something, maybe he
He
would.
was scared of the dark. He wouldn't have gone outside with that camper door closed.
So
and
he
she
was scared of the dark. I got you.
And last phone call he made was to his dad,
At what time?
like 4:11.
4:11. And what was the call about?
Emmy stealing something out of his wallet.
Who did?
Emmy.
Who's Emmy?
His dad's girlfriend.
His dad's girlfriend. Not his stepmother.
No.
Where's the stepmother at this time?
I don't know. She's not in the picture pretty much.
She's not in the picture. So the sheriff and that was the sheriff, Cecil Cantrell. He was the sheriff then.
Yeah, Cecil Cantrell. Somebody told me, I can't remember if it was Alan or my brother, but one of them told me that Cecil Cantrell was there with getting the statement from Casey at first, but then Curtis Knight was sat in there.
Curtis Knight. Now he's dead now.
Right.
And so here's what I know about these three. Okay. Well, we'll start with Curtis Knight. Curtis Knight was a part of the frame job of setting me up. I went to prison for 10 years. Lied under oath and all these other things. Now, when we were having the suppression hearing for a bogus search warrant that was backdated, signed a day or two after the fact by Andy Hood, that later became sheriff, I think, one term. But Curtis Knight was very closely connected with a group of people, citizens. And it was an orchestrated deal in about a year's making to set me up. So anything that Curtis Knight could have ever told you, that has to be questionable, okay? In other words, he done it to me, he'd do it to anybody else. In other words, his integrity has been zero. I don't know how many years. But because of reporting not being like it should be with the Brady report, people continue to serve time off of fraudulent and bogus things that came out of Curtis Knight. And when, it's really crazy, when they arrested me, every day prior to that, I had a routine. And I would spend an hour or two, literally daily, at Thompson's Pawn and Gun with Dennis Thompson. But for some reason, Dennis was missing in action. We now know he's part of the deal. He's part of the scheme. And guess who bonded me out? Alan Gurley. He was a bail bondsman and the coroner. He's no longer a bail bondsman now, but he was serving two roles. But it was Alan Gurley that bonded me out. So I know Alan, and I said, this is an orchestrated deal, but 10 years of my life gone. That was meant to destroy me because of, this is what these people do. If you don't agree with them, you make them mad or whatever. So this is the same group of people. Yeah, this was back in 2005. Now we're talking about 2017 that are talking to you about your son's death. All right, so they've interviewed the girl, and what's the story on that? Did you ever get any story on that?
Just the statement that I sent you.
Okay.
And to me, it was leading.
What do you mean?
The leading, like, you know, why would Gage want to kill himself? I mean, anybody can name reasons
Okay,
why
all
they're
right.
having
So they were
a hard
asking,
time in
exactly,
life.
exactly.
Who
Who all had been there around Gage around that period of time, that night? Was there anybody, other people that you know of?
Robbie.
There's some other people. We'll get.
Robbie, Lulu.
Okay, Robbie. Who?
Robbie Young.
Robbie Young.
Lulu.
Any kind of.
Tanner, the mama, dad, or the daddy of him.
Robbie's the daddy.
Yeah.
I've never heard his name before. Now, all right. So Tanner Young was there, and Lindsay, aka Lulu Young, was there. That same night, or that morning.
During that day, sometime.
During that day.
And
Wow.
probably a lot more people that I don't know.
Okay, so.
My daddy's got Alzheimer's, and he wouldn't make anybody leave.
So, I got you. And now, two things that we know. If if Lulu and Tanner, gone, Jason Hurley, if these people were there, I'm going to talk about the ones that I know of. It's in 2017, and I'm going to finish the story for you. You hadn't told me, and so that's why I wanted to get backed out of this. Let me move. I scooted all the way out. I'm going to finish the story. And you stop me if I'm off too much. Now, these individuals we're talking about, and them together, we're going to assume there was drug use. I can't imagine it not being, and for a reason. After this happened, did anybody just disappear and go to Broken Lives? Because Broken Lives is the boot camp for these crash dummies. When they go out here, every time on the heels of a death, on the heels of when they are on a campaign of another person either getting busted or dying, then, and Broken Lives is not the only one, but it's the main one. That would be the one. Hope House. They'll go to these places, and so that's the narrative. In other words, they were all high. They're going to get their lives straight. Blah 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 blah. But I mean, Lizzie Young, she's got a badge. I mean, she's the real deal. She literally have a badge. She may have one. I don't know. But I can promise you that she's, as far as working with the police, anybody that doesn't know it or have Alzheimer's or there's something wrong with them. And so the ones that say, oh no, she's not, are working with her, and the ones that are not working with her know what I'm saying. And for those that don't know, I know. And so I could sit here and name other occasions where we have this same cast of characters. Okay? Why is that? Is it just a black cloud of death follows these people? And why is it that these deaths are around the same circumstances? Do you feel like that the sheriff of Monroe County, the coroner, I mean, they said, they didn't do their job. Well, they didn't do their. You think they didn't do their job? They sent the Gage, his body, to Jackson for an autopsy. They did a toxicology report. But he wasn't, based on what they told you, did they say he hung himself or he died of a drug overdose? So I don't understand the toxicology report. I mean, that doesn't prove suicide by hanging, does it? Okay, so you'd think they would do X-rays and things like that, and do a report on markings and so forth on his body.
They didn't name all the markings.
They didn't name all the markings. What distinctive markings? And you did send me a picture. I'm not going to post the picture.
That's not the picture. They don't show all the marks that I sent.
So you saw the red marks here that were indicative to handcuffs. Is that what you're telling me?
It looks like something was around his wrist.
Both wrists.
But now he had just gotten arrested like 2 days before that.
Okay. Now, either way.
But
here's the deal. We don't know what happened in Amory. If he still had marks on his wrist 2 days after the fact, then chances are he was violated and abused during that deal. The cuffs were too tight.
But the red mark on his whole thumb was red except for one mark that was pale white from no blood being there.
That could be from them forcibly. Was there any reports that they did he complain of any?
There was one on his.
When he went to Amory Police, when he got out of
they keep him up.
All right, so he was in that little jail there in Amory. And who is the sheriff? I mean the chief.
In Amory, I have no idea.
I believe it's Ronnie Bowen, and I'll stand to be corrected on that. Now, folks, I want people in Amory to hear this. And we're not talking about the senior citizen, the elderly woman that was raped, robbed, and murdered in Amory. Y'all don't know who did it. But this just keeps coming up. It keeps coming up. This is Amory, a planned city, a town that kept voting it dry. They didn't want liquor in their town. When everybody knows that everybody there drank. And there's more swingers, wife swapping in Amory, Mississippi per capita than any city in the United States. That's a fact. And so that's their secret. That's their secret. And they got a bunch of secrets. And one of them is this deal called community-oriented policing. And that's where everybody, it's a holistic approach to policing. And what that is, Kimberly, is that means everybody doing their part. Everybody playing whatever role it may be, including inserting people in your life and inserting people into your gravitational pull. And I just named those people. And they will prop up situations. And bam, you mysteriously get arrested.
Oh yeah.
And plenty of arrests happen around these same people we just mentioned, okay?
Does anybody go press charges?
This is what they do. In other words, they communicate with their handler. He's got dope, he's got this, he's got that. Bam, the police come in there and they get them. Now this is a person maybe 2 hours earlier was not a criminal, but when this crew rolls in, by the time they leave, they're going to have them a criminal. And then when people die, law enforcement runs this. Isn't that right, Cecil? So you've got your community-oriented policing thugs out here. And when somebody loses a child, and they've got all of these questions, and the story keeps changing, and none of it's making sense, will they talk to you about it? Have they given you a clear explanation of any of this?
No. They can't tell me.
They can't tell you.
Okay, well, like, he had a scratch right there and right there. Not one where blood comes to surface, but where, like a hickey scratch.
So he had a scratch here on his eye.
And on his nose.
So he was in a fight.
Yes.
He was struggling with something.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And if you're killing yourself, you're not struggling with nothing.
No. What was Gage?
The abrasions on his collarbone.
Abrasion on his collarbone. So it's clear.
The red mark that was on his head right here.
Now, this is the mother, folks. She knows her son's body. I mean, how long had it been?
I took a picture. There was
took
a
a
picture
picture
that day.
Oh.
He had my son, my youngest son, with him that day. I trusted him enough to give him my debit card to go get money out of the bank so he could go get his truck out of impound from being arrested 2 days before that.
Would Gage be described as somebody that was always in trouble, a criminal, or whatever? What was his?
No, not really. His dad's always been in trouble.
It's his dad.
Yeah. But, you know, the apple don't fall too far from the tree.
Well, that's
That's
okay.
what they say to him.
Well, you know, and that is the case. But, you know,
No,
and again, there's, you know, people have had good raising. I did, and I've screwed up plenty of times, and that's on me.
He had no license or no insurance, a tag, stupid stuff.
Well, okay.
Get arrested for littering.
He got arrested for littering.
Yes.
Got arrested for littering. Folks, we look at these petty crimes. He got arrested for littering. It doesn't matter. He got arrested for littering. Now, you got a ticket in Hatley for pulling out of your driveway and doing a U-turn?
I turned around before I got to the stop sign and went back.
And they
And
gave
I was almost.
And so they gave you a ticket.
Yes.
Okay.
For no
now,
insurance. After they let me go inside and use the bathroom.
Oh boy. Well, folks, this is the petty citations. This mirrors what Kimberly is talking about right now. Mirrors the complaints in the Pasco County. The first one, there's 4 total. It may be more, but I know that there's 4 federal lawsuits against the Pasco County, Florida Sheriff's Department for their predictive policing program. And this is where they target the whole family for grass not being cut, petty citation, U-turns, littering, and it's relentless. It's always something. And it makes the victim look like a career criminal. They're just screw-ups. Well, let's say for a second, and now the sheriff in Pasco County said he was standing firm on his policies. Now they start targeting these children when they're in the second grade. If they're from a broken home, poor grades, the teachers, holistic approach. They give that goes, and the police, and look, and so community policing ran by law enforcement, they get this data, and those are our future criminals, and they punish them before they commit crimes. So in Pasco County, it's just like Monroe County, Chickasaw County, Lee County, is you are innocent until predicted guilty. Once they've predicted you guilty, then you can rest assured they'll hang a crime on you. I don't care what it is. If it's not blinking enough in your front yard, they'll do it. They might get you with some malicious mischief like they did me. That's the catch-all, the one-size-fits-all as seen on TV charge. We'll throw that on him and then violate my 5th and 14th Amendment rights and drag me financially and all that. And it's the same people that are already named in the federal lawsuit, same law enforcement, and they're coming. So they thumb their nose at the federal judicial system. They could care less. They believe they are above the law. Do you feel like that some of these things? I'm talking about things that I know we hadn't discussed any of these things that you can relate to. Do you feel like they're still doing these things, targeting you? And okay, so you're staying in Lee County now. It's broad as it is long, folks. She's not, you throw a rock and hit where she can't. It's that down the road. And they're also doing a lot of things that we're not going to talk about because they want us to talk about it. They want us to talk about it. And that is, ladies and gentlemen, the Area 51 aspect of community-oriented policing. That once the victim starts talking about those things, then everyone else can say, well, they're crazy. They're nut jobs. And then you'll be dismissed. And then nobody's going to take you serious when you say, I believe my son was murdered. Well, she's been seeing flying monkeys or something. This is the reason they have the smoke and mirror and the hat tricks. That diverts and distracts everyone away from the crime. And the diversion always comes in, it's more elaborate, it's more intense, and it's always going to keep you so busy dealing with all these other things just coming all the time. You don't have enough time to concentrate on what you want to concentrate.
Investigate everybody.
So, and everybody's not in on it, I'll tell you that. How many children do you have?
4.
4. And where was Gage in that mix?
Oldest.
He was the oldest. Now,
He's the one I depended on.
you depended on. Well, you weren't staying there with him though, right?
No. He was stubborn. He was a little shit.
Yeah.
But he was my little shit.
He's your
And he
child.
was a good kid.
And I don't have any reason to doubt it. I mean, he's 20 years old. That's a baby.
For his night of fun, he would get my youngest 2 kids to come stay the weekend. That was his best friend, was Cameron.
And
There's 10 years difference between them 2.
so Cameron's his baby brother.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
He called them his babies.
Called them his babies. They won't get to go fishing again, folks.
Go work on a car.
Or work on a car. Or do anything. Because something went horribly wrong in Monroe County that night in Smithville. Now, I'm going to tell you, when you hear these people running for sheriff, and these people in law enforcement, and these politicians saying, we want to get drugs off the street and all that. That's a damn lie. That's a lie, because they make it possible for these ass clowns to come into their orbit, and even a person that doesn't want drugs or is trying to sober up or something like that, they look, it's not hard. When you make, twist my arm, they make it available. They continue, they get these. This is what law enforcement, community-oriented police are doing. They're getting these crash dummies, and how they pay the crash dummies, I don't know. You'll have to ask Lulu about that. How she can stay high and strung out for years on end and be caught up in every police car situation under the sun and have never done a day's time, okay? You ask her. I can't tell you how that works, but I can tell you one thing. Hey, don't look like that it's hard to get dope. And this is a Black Widow situation. People dropping like flies, and you're always getting some hogwash. And they get the coroner in there and all this, and it make it look good on paper, but it don't look good. They did a toxicology report. You see, what it sounds to me like, Kimberly, is they gave him a drug test. They wanted to make this the topic. He was on dope. Now, I've said this before, I'm going to say it again. This is how they do it, and especially in Mississippi. Every time somebody dies, under questionable circumstances, people say, oh my God, I've heard this. There's on that dope. Oh, well, don't say no more then. I don't want to hear it. And these old podunks bite. You bite because you keep going down here. Yes. And pulling the lever for Jim H., you people Johnson, and anybody else that, anybody else that is running for office, because it sounds good, because you saw where somebody died, you heard the story, but without that, they don't have jobs. They don't have a platform.
That was pretty much their explanation to it.
It was dope.
Well, you know he was on dope, don't you?
Oh, well, okay, so he's on dope, and so somehow that's how he ended up dead with all these marks on his body. That don't make no damn sense, and you didn't have to go to autopsy school, and I don't think he is a scummy. Alan Gurley, he's not a doctor, okay? And so...
Well, if he got high, then he was feeling good. He didn't feel like killing himself.
Well, I'm just telling you. Here's the thing.
But
we know that anybody and any
dope is not a cause of death.
This is that's not the cause of death. Why did they do a toxicology report if it was a suicide behind him? I saw the death certificate, and it's the cause of death. Okay, it said suicide. I don't know if it said hang.
Suicide, strangulation.
Strangulation.
Ligature strangulation.
Okay. Now, maybe that's part of the protocol to check their blood, but
looks like to me
they're not trying to do an investigation. They didn't say. Did they come out and say, well, okay, he had drugs in his system. Give us the names of where you think he might have died. We're fixing to hem some people up, find out what the hell's going on here. Did they do any of that? No. They don't give a shit. No. If it was about the dope, then they'd have said they'd have hemmed everybody up there. Wouldn't nobody left. Nobody left. We're gonna stay here. The cows come on. Find out where the dope comes, and we're gonna get to the bottom of this. But it wasn't none of that, because he was on that dope. And the last words of Cecil Cancel, when he lost the election, he was at Monroe County Jail. Somebody was in there that hurt him. Okay, somebody had just been shot and killed in a transaction. And he said, and I quote, I don't give a damn. It's just a drug deal gone wrong. Good riddance. I quit. I'm going to the house. And that's what he did. He walked out. That was his last day there. Ain't that something? This is your sheriff. This is the one y'all love. Now, the new sheriff's in there, and I know that he got rid of everybody, including Curtis Knight, didn't he? No. No, he didn't. Curtis Knight died out of that deal. And he didn't waste no time getting linked back up with a multi-jurisdictional task force. And so we got a 5-6 county deal here, folks, where in North Mississippi, where people have died. You see an obituary in the paper. You don't know them if you're not from down there, and the news don't cover it. They never say why they die. You know, I did a thing, it's kind of tongue-in-cheek, that we get obituaries, But we never know. You can call the funeral home. Y'all have the idea of what these people died of. Everybody wants to know, but they don't ever tell you. But there's probably a reason why. So, do you believe that law enforcement? You believe that law enforcement was targeting that program? What I'm telling you is targeting him, and you believe that you're still caught up in this?
Well, from what I hear, they was making their little circle every 10 minutes or something. It looks like to me.
A marked police car, cruiser?
Joey Miller told me he drove by there and seen Gage.
Who is John Miller?
Joey Miller.
Who is that?
He's a cop.
Hey, I mean,
Monroe County.
He's at Monroe County, so he'd been driving through there.
Right.
What the hell's he waiting on?
Well, he said he seen Gage in the yard, but then by the time before he got to Hatley,
you saw somebody in the yard. Okay.
Before he got to Hatley, the call came in.
Who called him?
I guess the 911 call came in. I don't know.
Somebody got died. 911. I don't think calls itself. It may, but
I thought that they were sending an ambulance, not the police.
You would think if anything like that, of course, did the ambulance ever come?
I don't know.
Well, I mean,
I know but ambulances went by my house and I never seen cops.
Yeah, so they probably sent the ambulance. And
but usually dying from strangulation or hanging takes like 15-20 minutes. Now passing out is a different story, but fully dying.
Okay, so if he was on dope, folks, it's not the dope.
He's not gonna leave money with
It's not the dope. All right, this is just a catch-all, and when enough people get tired, enough people should already be tired of hearing these stories. This is the mother about her child. Do you believe that Gage that you or this family have gotten justice of what's happened here?
No.
That
I know I wouldn't want to pull over in the middle of the night with a cop behind me by myself. I don't trust them.
Oh, I don't blame you with that.
But that goes for anybody. For somebody.
When you have strange things happen, people following you, or people posted up like they are down there, running the car, and you feel in fear of your safety, one should be able to call the police, right? Mm-hmm. But that's the fox guard in the hen house. Now, once you know that's out of the equation, who do you call? You don't. That leaves you in a hopeless, helpless situation, does it not? Do you think it's right? Do you think it's legal that law enforcement, those are in a position to protect and to keep peace on the streets? Yeah. You used to call them peace officers. They're not peace officers. There's a difference between a peace officer and law enforcement. They've gone to law enforcement and away from this peace officer thing of keeping the peace. In other words, it pays more to be in the enforcement end. And the difference is keeping the peace is we're there, we're present, and so forth. And so, well, this is what community policing's about. No, because they're clandestine, and they target people that they think are that they don't like, they're doing something they don't agree with, and they will target them. And this is the program. Kimberly, I wish you understand this. There is one desired net result of a person that's targeted by this program, and it's annihilation. That's to reduce someone to nothing. Death is the only way out. I'm telling you that your son was targeted. That's how they ended. That, as far as law enforcement is concerned, and somebody trying to compensate for something they don't have out there with the loud pipes, you can't make this up. And so this is the and I'm glad we're out here getting that. So folks, this is how community-oriented policing. This is Tupelo. There are perverts out lurking, racing their motors up and all that, posted up, lurking and gawking and stuff. And we're trying to have a discussion about the death of her son. These people have, it's more than they have no scruples. This is a pathetic excuse. The pathetic excuses of humanity are not the people that are out here struggling and trying to live their lives. It's the people out here that are drawing a paycheck off our tax dollars, covering up their shit every day and lying to the family. What say you?
My son already knows what happened. autopsy is supposed to be for the family. And I'm not getting no answers.
Your son knows, of course, he knows what happened. And
his grandma.
Now that call, that last phone call he made, he called who?
His daddy.
His daddy.
But his daddy said he never showed up.
So he said he was coming over there? Okay. And how far is that from where? I mean, how many yards?
Highway 23.
Oh, so he have to get in the car and go?
Yeah.
Okay.
Maybe, I don't know. You know where Atkinson Steakhouse is?
I can't place it.
Okay, it's on Smithville Hatley Road. Not the first the new four-way flashing blinking light they got.
Yeah.
Right there is where Gage lives. And Jason lives maybe half a mile from the school.
Yeah. So
it's not far. 5 minutes.
So have you heard from this? Have you heard anything out of anybody, any of those people that were there that day that happened?
Yeah, I've seen them.
You've seen them, okay.
Or talked to them. One or the other.
And I don't really want to know.
Robbie Young just popped up at my house for no apparent reason maybe 2 years ago.
And you thought maybe to fill you out and see where you was mentally, what you were talking about?
Maybe.
Yeah.
It was 6 o'clock in the daggone morning.
Yeah, really. Ooh. Well, you'd be standing there a while. You at my door at 6 o'clock in the morning. But I hope I'm not up. You come up unannounced.
I had my gun.
Yeah. Well.
Because it's not like I don't pose, don't show them. If I didn't give birth to you, don't come to my house.
Now, do you think that, what do you think right now at this point, Kimberly, do you believe that there's people out there, I believe that there are people out there that know more details on what happened?
Yeah.
And let's say they did come forward. Who would they tell it to? Because the sheriff's department, they don't want to hear it, do they? Because as far as they're concerned, they're not investigating. Am I right?
No, they ain't investigating it.
Did they say they was going to investigate it? Is it under investigation?
Okay.
What's the official status?
When I sent them that picture that I showed you, and I went down there and pointed out the obvious, that's when they said they opened the investigation. They said they talked to some people, but I don't know. I don't know if they did or not. It's not like I can look at it.
Okay, well, they
It's
said
not like I can go to Jackson and get them pictures either.
How long has it been since you had that conversation?
It was 5 years.
Huh?
2017.
2017. Oh, so you hadn't heard from them since?
No, I call them or text them.
What do they say?
I haven't talked to Kevin, the new sheriff. Well, good what he did.
Well, it's
the same people.
You just feel like you're just kicking a dead horse when you're trying to communicate with them because you know what they're going to do.
I've called Kevin a couple times, but he's never in the office.
Oh, he hadn't called you back?
No. Well, of course, I don't leave my name either because I'm not. You know.
Well, you got to leave your name and the phone number. Right. I mean, they already know who it is calling, but you got to, God forbid, they break protocol. But trust me, when you call, they know who's calling them. Okay? I mean, news flash, folks. I mean, I got caller ID. If you got, I mean, you can get the cheapest phone you can get at Walmart, and Straight Talk got caller ID on it. I think that this Homeland Security red-headed stepchild there in Monroe County, I'm pretty sure they got caller ID. They know who in the hell called them. But he called you back. If you think you did, you think they would call you back? They might for this, or they might not. I don't know.
I don't know.
Do you think that
apparently they don't work on the weekend.
With the marks on his body, and we're going to close up for this because, folks, this is and I'm not going to put. I'm going to. You've seen some pictures now of Gage, and
they were more worried about what else they could find other than taking pictures of Gage.
So they were wanting to use that as a door opener to get in there and hunt for something else.
They was hoping there was something else.
They was hoping something was else.
Yeah.
Where they could make the story better.
Some Boss spray and some
oh yeah, it would have been a better story. Yeah, cooking dope and all that. Sure, yeah. So, but that would have been the story. A drug meth lab got busted and somebody died. That would have been the story.
They didn't find that.
They didn't find it.
Yeah, then they should have took more pictures of Gage.
Did Gage ever speak of killing himself to anybody before prior to that?
Yeah.
What was surrounding those circumstances when he said that?
They took the baby.
Okay.
Months before.
Okay, so
So if it
CPS
was a
got
month,
CPS took the baby. All right.
If they said that.
Now I don't know if you know
before,
this, not CPS. They're part of this holistic approach as
I
well.
definitely don't.
Oh yeah, they'll take babies and they'll put them with monsters.
Yeah.
They lose tens and thousands every year. Every year in America, and they don't know where the hell they went. But this is how they manipulate and control the families, is with their children. In other words, if you don't hold your mouth right, we're going to run it. We're going to take your kids. Am I right?
Yeah.
That's the way they do it. So, folks, I've watched it with my own eyes. A preset theater with Saltillo Police, CPS, and Devin Bramlett, and Alyssa, and her baby. It was all theater. And I've just named the snitches working with the police and CPS, all working together on this theater. It blew my mind. So what I'm telling you, they don't care about the children. They don't care about the dope. They care about their narrative. Their narrative is this: we're going to keep our narrative, and we're going to keep getting paid. We're going to keep getting funded. We'll keep getting new jails, and everybody's happy. And these nobodies, would they consider your son as a nobody?
Yeah.
He's a somebody. And that is why I'm here.
To me, it was the world.
This was her world, her child. We could be talking about your child, your son, your daughter, your grandson, your granddaughter, your best friend. And this can't be dismissed, ladies and gentlemen, as unfortunate circumstances. It is unfortunate. It's unfortunate that we have not started holding these people accountable, and we quit buying the bullshit of that's their job, let them do their job, and we get all the fluff and the window dressing, but behind the scenes, millions of Americans across this country are being targeted, and they're using these crash dummies, and they drive the narrative. They drive the narrative. They will bring in some of the most, would you say evil people came into this mix as well? They did. I mean, she had told me this because I already know. I already know what's going on. I already know the stuff that we're not going to talk, because we'd be here for hours. But yes, it's evil. It is very evil. You see, this program is designed, smear tactics, rumor campaigns. They'll talk about you at work. They destroy your name. They steal stuff from you. Over and over. Now, these are the characteristics of who? Who came to kill, steal, and destroy? That's right. So we're going to put, if the shoe wears it, if the shoe fits, wear it. I just described community-oriented policing, and I just described the same description the Bible gives Satan himself. Verbatim. That's the program. In plain sight. At USA, small town USA, right here. And this happened in Smithville, Mississippi. I wonder how many people have died in Smithville in the last 10 years. Under the same deal. We've got to deal with Justice Zachary Massey. Around the same damn story, the same BS. The same BS. They said we had dope. Well, folks, let me tell you what. You need to get a clue. This dope is not heroin. It's not cocaine. It's not fentanyl. He didn't have any of that in his system. And it don't kill you, and it don't make you suicidal. Okay? We'll leave it at that. But they create and incubate these things when they target them, and it's a controlled exit. It's a controlled exit. Bam. Let's just say for a minute, if I'm right, this is going on with your sheriff at the helm. It falls on his plate. He's the chief law enforcement officer of that county. That's his baby. That's where we start cleaning house. If you got some information, send it to me. I'll have my email in the comments section. Until next time, God bless you.